And greetings. Welcome to Our Reviews Will Kill You, that party time podcast that brings you all the best drinks you can even think of, and movie reviews, and pop culture, all those fun things. I am the man that you may know as Z, and I am joined by the usual suspects, both Noob and Scott. But today we are extraordinarily excited. We have we scoured not only the country, but we scoured the globe for the best possible bartender we could find to have a discussion about drinks. As you well know in our audience, we are big avid drinkers here, and we have a special treat for you. We have the Aussie bartender. We're very excited to have him here. Paul, greetings. Thank you so much for joining us today.
G'day, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So part of the idea of this show was we've had in the past, we've done what we call watch-alongs, where we'll watch a movie and maybe we'll make a drink to it. And we asked you a little bit about a drink we made for the movie from, I don't know what year it was, 1990-something, the Michael Crichton movie, Congo. We made a ridiculous drink called the Damn Dirty Ape, which if you listen to that, we got very drunk and talked a lot of nonsense about a movie with monkeys that shoot lasers, or vice versa. And then you also gave us a drink, which we have here live, which Noob has prepared since he considers himself
fantastic.
A bartender. I believe it's called the Red Belly, correct?
It is.
Correct. Yeah, it was my post that I put up, I think, about a week ago. So I'm interested to see what you think of it, to be honest.
Your version looks absolutely beautiful.
I had to make some changes.
His version, it does not look bad, but I will say it does look like a drink that can be drunk. He did, we'll go into the details of the recipe later, so you at home can also make this drink. But why don't you give us a little bit of background? What excited you about being, I mean, you're the Aussie bartender. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What made you excited about making drinks?
Well, I basically, as soon as I got my, as soon as I turned 18, which is the legal age to, be working behind bars and whatnot here in Australia. I believe I don't know if is it 18 over there where you guys are in the US, or is it 21?
21.
I'm not too sure. 21, yeah. So, true story. I actually got inspired by making cocktails when I was, 16, 17, when the movie Cocktail with Tom Cruise came out. So, I saw him, mixing some drinks and throwing some bottles and stuff around. I thought, wow, how cool would that be? I want to do that too. So, when I was 18, when I turned 18, I got my RSA and started working in, bars and whatnot, and then went into restaurants and more bars and cocktail bars and whatnot. So that's what gave me the inspiration behind getting into mixing drinks and putting some stuff together and having a passion in developing flavors and palettes and cocktails for people. And Well,
that's
so here I am.
Awesome segue, because that's literally what we tend to talk about. We not all the time, but when we do talk about drinks and movies, there's so much mix and crossover there, because obviously you were inspired by that. And, we were looking back, and maybe, I guess we'll ask you a little bit about some cocktails that maybe you've seen in movies, or something that was interesting to you, because, we made a drink to watch the movie along. And it's funny because the monkey in Congo actually does drink a martini. So that was part of the inspiration for that drink. But since you were inspired by cocktail, did you ever make I guess there's a drink connected to it, the Red Eye? I've never heard of that. Do you know anything?
It sounds disgusting.
The Red Eye, it's basically a beer with some egg, like a whole raw egg, and pretty much it. It's just basically maybe some lemon and some spices and stuff, but it's a horrible drink. It's horrible. It is one of those drinks where if you're hungover and you want something to really pick you up and just not only knock your socks off, but also give you some good source of protein as well. That's a drink you probably want to go for. So
that does not like a drink.
It is disgusting. I've tried it once, and I would never do it again.
Well, I guess I would say, is there, like, I've had a drink one time that I made myself that I would never ever drink again. It's called a Damn the Weather, and I have no idea what's in it. Is there any other drink that you experimented with that you were like, yeah, I made this and I will never make this again? Or is there like an ingredient that you find yourself being like, no thanks?
Yeah. I love I'm not shy to a strong cocktail. But there was one drink I had, I don't know the name of it, but it looked really pretty. It looked really nice and like a neon green color. I thought, wow, that looks really cool. Looks really fruity. And don't know what was it. Couldn't tell you the name of it, but it must have had rocket fuel or something in there because I don't remember a thing after it. So, yeah.
I don't know.
So
Are you
looks can be deceiving. They might look pretty, but they can definitely knock your socks off. So,
are you familiar with? They call it knockout juice up here. It's whiskey with cinnamon in it, and it seems to get people knocked because they can drink it easily, and they drink too much of it. So that in the bars around here, they tend to call it knockout juice. Have you ever had anything like that?
never. Well, a lot of knockout drinks. I don't know about knockout juice, but yeah, like I haven't heard of this knockout drink, so I'm intrigued. I'll have to look it up and try and find it.
I forget. I think it's you know what it might be, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's like they take cider, like hard cider of some kind, and then add a couple of shots of that cinnamon whiskey, and then they drink it like they would drink a beer, right? So then they have like 6 of them, and then they're just wiped out. I think that's what it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Sounds interesting. I got some Fireball up in the cupboard, so I'll have to try and make something along the lines of it. So.
I kind of
Fireball is for drunken college kids that don't know what they're doing any better. As you look on the screen there, you can see we do have the chat going on YouTube. Sensibly Cynical is getting his whiskey out for us, and Sam Jr. is riding a tricycle. Not sure what's going on there. We are also over on Facebook Live. Ryan PC is telling us that we have gotten uglier, and after I said that we can't help that, he said eliminate noob. That'll probably help. So love coming in from Facebook as well. As we go on, we'll start seeing Facebook comments pop up on our screen here. I don't know how to do that yet, guys. I'm still learning this. But hey, at least you do have the YouTube chat there for you. So we're glad to hear from all of you tonight.
Hey, what's up? I see Doc's out there in the chat too. So we got a lot of the regulars out there, so we appreciate that. And if you guys do have a question for our Aussie bartender, we would... He not only is he a fantastic bartender, but he's also in the future. So if we have any sports betting that we want to ask about, he might know the score to the. If
you want to know the touch lotto numbers, guys, the only thing I ask is 10%. That's all. Not much.
Just a 10% cut.
So speaking of questions, I have a question, bartender to bartender, and I've had a lot of trouble. Yes, I'm a bartender. I make myself drinks and
what he means by that is he walks into bars regularly, and that's just like because he doesn't watch where he's going. It explains his rather large nose as it's swollen from every impact into various things he's walked into, mostly bars.
Very tender.
I hit on all the male bartenders. Wake up naked in a bathtub. It's fine. So, and this is a problem I've had issues with in terms of mixing drinks.
Oh, not erectile dysfunction.
No. Have you found a good way to mask roofies in a cocktail? I've been trying for years. Several of my ex-girlfriends have told me it doesn't work. That's why they're my exes. No longer live. So that's just tips and tricks for me. Like, honestly, I tried to rope in a rag when that doesn't work. So I've had to move on to more extreme measures.
I still haven't found a way to mask.
You could just say no.
You're more than welcome to say no comment. I mean, I'll tell you now. I mean, the Spanish Fly, I've heard good things about it, but it never works for me. Every time I take it, I fall asleep. It's not that effective. So, I mean, I guess it's just your preferred method.
Has that ever actually? Have you, as a bartender, have you?
Roofied yourself?
No, not. Nope. Shut up, stupid. No, have you ever come across that? Like, have you ever seen a shady guy do something where you were like, "Hey, don't drink that drink. Like, that looks like somebody dropped something into it."
Look, I mean, there's when you're in the zone, you don't really have to have enough time to pay attention to what people are doing to their drinks. Unfortunately, I would want to hope that doesn't carry on, especially in the bars that I've worked at. But
see, you're Australian though, so I feel like you guys are not as much of degenerates as the Americans can be. Yeah, I don't hear as many rapey stories about Australians.
There was a game going on when I was out in Los Angeles where people would just roofie other people's drinks randomly because the stuff's expensive, but I guess people got money and are just bored. I had a friend of mine had his drink roofied, not because somebody was trying to take advantage of him, but just because they wanted to laugh at him as he just became unable to continue on the night. It's screwed up that happens, and in different places it happens for different reasons, and it's absolutely terrifying. And we urge everybody out there to watch your drinks and take care of yourselves. Of course,
Scott.
Let's the best tip I've got against all that sort of stuff is drink beer or something in a bottle and keep your thumb over the top of that. You can never go wrong.
Let's move on from the roofies and that kind of stuff.
But we're getting good advice here on how to prevent yourself from being roofied, or for Noob how to roofie himself.
Exactly.
We just hope he roofies himself and shuts up for the rest of the time. What about, has there been any other movies, like movie drinks that you've seen that you thought were cool, that you were into, or anything that inspired you?
There's a lot of cocktails going around, especially on different types of movies, but they're so fast and far in between. It's just like, I wonder what's in that, or what's the name of that, and you try and replicate it. And it doesn't really always go to plan. So it's like, I like that color, I like the sound of that, but there's not really any kind of like one particular cocktail that I found in any movies that I would love to try and replicate. I just kind of watch the movie and be done with it, really. So.
Well, I've always what about the James Bond drinks, where I know I'm a big fan, obviously, of dirty vodka martinis personally. And then the way that he orders it is the traditional model, but it sounds so fancy, but I feel like that's all just shtick for the movie, right?
Is there
shaken, stirred?
Is there a difference between shaken, not stirred?
100%, 100%. So with the shaken, not stirred, or a stirred or shaken, so the difference is there's going to be more dilution in the drinks. So if you're stirring, so for example, or shaken, shaken, not stirred, each to their own. Everyone's got their own preferred way of drinking a martini or their own ingredients in a martini. But look, less dilution. You just want to chill the cocktail. You don't actually want to add too much dilution, because what's going to happen is you're going to take away from the flavors of the cocktail itself. So if you're having a dirty martini, you don't want to dilute the olive juice or anything like that. So stirring a cocktail in a mixing glass is going to add, this is basically going to chill the cocktail, not actually dilute the cocktail, if that makes sense. So you don't want to stir any more than, say 30 seconds to still get that nice flavor profile from the actual drink. So if you're shaking, you're basically breaking down the ice. You add more dilution, which is going to take away from the flavor of the actual drink.
So what you're saying is James Bond didn't know how to drink properly.
Basically. So look, each to their own.
What I always felt like it was just a shtick for the movie, that this is something that sounds cool and
I was just about to say, maybe it's that line that's shaken, not stirred, but it's I guess maybe a line that fit well with what they were talking about.
So I guess that when you shake it, it breaks up the ice, right? That's the big issue.
That's right. Yeah. So when you are chilling down, in some cocktails you want that little bit of dilution, but in your straight up cocktails, Negronis, your martinis, all sort of stuff, you don't want too much dilution, because you want to taste the flavor of the actual spirit that you're trying to highlight in the drink, whether it be vodka, whiskey, anything like that, gin. So what's the point of having all that ice and all that dilution and not letting that one main star ingredient sing? So yeah.
I guess I have another kind of follow up with the drinking, like the bartender thing is. I guess obviously you're Australian, and
Don't hold that against me though.
you're more influenced by British cocktails or American cocktails, because one of my favorite American cocktails is, I guess, from the 1920s. It's called a sidecar. It's not super popular out here, but do you find that do you get a lot of the American influence over there, or is it mostly British cocktails? Like, what does it seem like in that scene?
Look, I mean, over here, we're all influenced by cocktails all around the world. Tiki, like in the tropics, you've got your US drinks, so you're your straight up your whiskey sours, your old fashions. And whatnot, but I mean, I'm not really influenced by anything or anyone. It's more, what I like to drink, and what I know others like to drink as well. So I try make things that others are going to enjoy as well as I do. So yeah. But as far as a sidecar and stuff goes, I've tried sidecars. I like them, but I try from my palate. I'm not a really spirit-forward type of person, so I like your fruity, kind of tropical, creamy, desserty kind of drinks. Developing my palate for that, the harsher old-fashioned or straight-up neat cocktails. So,
no, that makes sense. We still do it sometimes, but we play a game around here with bartenders. It's called the sidecar game. And what I found after doing it many times is that the only loser in the sidecar game was me, because I kept asking people to make a drink that they didn't know how to make right, and they would all suck.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's nothing worse when somebody comes up to a bar and go, "Oh, can I have, for example, a sidecar?" But can you make it this way because this is the way I like it? It's like, well, I get where you're coming from, but this is our recipe. But if that's what you want in it, man, this is how much it's going to cost. I'm happy to do it the way you want to do it, or you can just let me make the drink and see what you think. So yeah.
If you, I know you. Well, I feel like you probably have better access to maybe some fresh tropical flavors. Do you prefer obvious? I feel like everybody's going to say that. Yeah, I prefer fresh fruit to canned fruit or anything. Is there anything that's exotic that you think you have access to that we wouldn't see in the U.S.? Like maybe some sort of secret that we don't know about?
Kangaroo testicles or something.
Kangaroo testicles.
Kangaroo testicles. Look, I mean, as far as exotic fruits go, we pretty much have all the ingredients you guys have here in Australia. But as far as I'm going to go back to your comment about fresh fruit versus canned fruit and stuff, it really does make all the difference having fresh citrus as opposed to a bottle of citrus that's been sitting on the shelf for 24 months or anything like that. You really get the flavor profiles, the freshness. It really does lift up and elevate a whole drink. It can be the difference between a cocktail tasting fantastic or it tasting half average. So as far as that goes, fresh fruit is always best. If you have access to fresh fruit, citrus, pineapples, oranges, it really does change the whole profile of the whole entire drink and the overall experience.
I did find something here that he actually does not have over there in Australia. So getting ready for this, I went through the old liquor cabinet there and pulled some dust off of a bottle here. I've never heard of this before. I wonder if you have. It's called 10 High Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey.
I haven't actually heard of 10 High before. No, so appreciate that, Scott. What's it like?
I've never heard of it either. I just pulled out of a closet and there was a lot of dust in the bottle. That's all I know. And it's a sour mash whiskey, which makes me nervous because whiskey already has a flavor, but now we're talking sour. But so I guess so. You never heard of this? I've never have either. So
I've had 10 High.
No, I haven't actually.
I don't.
I'm interested to see how it tastes.
He's gonna try.
He's just drinking.
Well, actually, that's a bourbon. That's not actually a whiskey. That's a bourbon whiskey. It's actually really sweet. It doesn't burn as much as most whiskeys do. I like it pretty good, surprisingly enough. I thought it was going to be horrible, but no, this is a straight up neat drinking whiskey. So there we go.
Yeah, nice. I'll have to
a discovery from the back of the closet. There is a 10 high Kentucky bourbon whiskey.
Mash whiskey though.
Sour mash whiskey.
Sour mash.
So, but actually, with a little bit of research, I found out that the sour mash whiskey, and this is where you're going to find out that I actually planned this whole thing, is the sour mash whiskey is actually a bourbon that's made with the fixins from the last batch. They reuse the fixins from the last batch, the mash, to make the next batch of whiskey. That's the sour mash, and it actually causes it to be a lot sweeter taste and a lot nicer. And for those of you out there that think and want to try bourbon and want to try sour mash, a lot of these are made to drink neat, just right from not right from the bottle, more right from the glass. Unless, of course, you want to get it from the bottle. I'm not going to stop you, but I actually do recommend it now that I've had it in my hand, the 10 High Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey.
Fantastic. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for that contribution there.
And I'm just going to go back to drinking my Jameson now, so there.
After he recommends. How about, I do have, before we get to the review section, I guess, because we'll have a whole thing there. Have you ever had absinthe? Is that a drink that you've ever come across?
I have had absinthe before. I don't like to have a lot of absinthe, but
Tastes like
I have had absinthe. Yes.
Do you like the one thing that I really enjoy about absinthe in general is the I guess it's like the pomp and circumstance about it, where you can, I have like a silver spoon and I pour, sugar over it, and it's like a whole thing. Do you like the drinks that require a little bit more, I guess, showmanship, or you don't care, like whatever the customer wants? Like, what's your preference?
Look, yeah, it's all about like what the customer wants, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to keep coming back to you and want more drinks out of you. But to me, with absinthe, it does have its purpose. I don't like to put a lot of absinthe in any of the drinks that I make. I don't think I've posted any absinthe cocktails that I've created.
Is there an absinthe cocktail besides just like the straight kind of French version where you just pour sugar over water? And I don't think I've ever tried one.
Not that I've with absinthe. I've more like a mist, so a spray, so your jet sprays, just to basically the glass. So because absinthe is such a strong flavor with that, a nice kind of flavor. If you like licorice, then yeah, sure, go for it. But for me, it's more about like it's almost just rounding off that whole cocktail and having the flavor in the back of the palate rather than being a forefront hit in the face. So yeah, but as far as absinthe cocktails go, it's more either a mist or like very like not even a quarter of an ounce in the cocktail itself, because you don't want it to punch you in the face. You just want it to sit back and go, hey guys, I'm here. I'm just going to tag along for the ride kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the Sazerac has the mist, right, for absinthe?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Absinthe was illegal in the United States up until, I'm going to say 2016. I could be wrong.
Well,
I was collecting it.
Is it also the absinthe that we have here is not the same absinthe that you got over there that made you hallucinate?
Well, I imported my absinthe from mostly Czechoslovakia. And then the absinthe made here, it wasn't made with wormwood at first, because wormwood was considered to be like you said, a hallucinogen. Even though it also has thujan in it, which is, I guess, a THC derivative as well. So I don't know. People were all crazy about it. Most of the problems with absinthe wasn't the absinthe. It was the fact that people were shooting heroin or taking heroin and then drinking absinthe. And absinthe had nothing to do with the actual like hallucination.
So it was more the heroin than it was the absinthe. That's good to know. I'm glad. I'll make sure that I will only use good heroin from now on.
That's my assessment, at least. That's your history lesson from Z for the day.
We're learning things.
In answer to your question, I've never seen or heard of hallucinogen absinthe here in Australia. So hopefully we don't get here that anytime soon.
They would call it the Green Fairy, where you would supposedly hallucinate and see green fairies. I think that's a lot of myth because it was banned for so long.
Yeah.
People are silly, so it comes with that mythos. Are we prepared? Can we? I guess we're gonna switch to the review part of the show.
Yeah.
Can we ask you, since we made a drink based on a movie, a ridiculous
shit martini?
No, it's called the Damn Dirty Ape Martini, which was it was a vodka martini with jalapeno olives, and it was obviously dirty, so you'd put the jalapeno juice in it. Did you get a chance to try that? And if you did, what did you think?
I actually did try that over the weekend.
You're fired. You're all fired.
A little birdie texted me and told me what it was, and no names. But I did get a chance to try over the weekend. Look, like I said earlier in the piece, for me, I'm not a spirit forward type of drinker, but I don't think I appreciate the quality of a martini enough to give an honest review. But for what it was, I kind of did.
If I were to paraphrase it for you really quick, Paul, Z sucks at creating a drink, and he should just quit life.
No, not at all. I had to kind of improvise because the recipe that was texted to that was given to me with the olive jalapeno infusion juice thing. We don't have it, or I couldn't find it here in Australia. So, especially at my local stores or liquor stores or supermarkets. So I had to improvise. And what I did was I basically muddled. I got some jalapenos. I got a jar of olives, and got the juice and stuff, and kind of infuse it over about 48 hours to try and get that infusion and flavor. To see where you're going with that, because obviously we can't get it here. The flavor of that was incredible. Love the heat. Love the freshness of the olives. I love olives myself. I love heat. I love hot food. So that tasted incredible. With the 3.5 ounces, I believe, is that right, of vodka?
Well, I guess every time I do things, I do it by parts. I don't actually do count measurements because I don't have actual jigger or anything like that. So that
was supposed to be parts, not
parts,
ounces.
not ounces. Ounces would probably lay you on your back.
Well, that's where I went wrong.
And that's why I liked it, because that's how I make my drinks. 5 ounces of this, 7 ounces of that, 8 ounces of this.
Okay, well, I have the measurements all out of whack, so I'll have to make it again. But look, I made it with 3.5 ounces of vodka. I think it was half an ounce of vermouth and half an ounce of the olive / jalapeno infusion. And look, I love the heat from the drink, from the jalapenos, the flavor and the freshness of the olives, mixed with the dryness of the vermouth and the vodka over the top. I think it has a lot of potential, and I think anyone who really enjoys a dirty martini, would really enjoy this type of drink. With the ratios that I was given, and also the ratios that I put in there, 3.5 ounces to half and half, I'll probably really dial that vodka down to maybe 2 ounces, and leave the rest as it is, and maybe tone down the vermouth to about. No, I'll leave the vermouth as it is actually, but I'd really like to dial into that again and give it a fair crack. So look, as a review side of things, I love the flavors that you got into it, that you had in the Dirty Ape Martini. But I think anyone who really likes, like I said, loves a dirty martini would really enjoy this type of drink.
I really do love the idea of using like fresh jalapeno to infuse.
Yeah.
That's that's the difference between some mush brains and a real professional bartender. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna make my own infusion and actually make this real.
I took Jolly Ranchers vodka, so fuck you.
Yeah, I prefer to infuse jalapenos into tequila. That is much better. I'm actually going to throw back to a second. We were talking about absinthe a minute ago. I took a minute and went back into our Instagram files to when we were making our own absinthe as well. So let's take a quick throwback to OrkU making our drinks and lighting stuff on fire, because that's what we do. I mean, this is how we do.
That's cool. That's it. That's cool.
Didn't make it taste any better.
I think honestly, like what happens is the sugar cube, absent over the sugar cube, what the fire is supposed to do is actually burn out all the harshness of the alcohol, so that the flavor, the anise flavor from the absinthe, drops into the cocktail without overpowering the actual drink. And this, obviously, the sugar cube, when you drop that into there as well, gives it that beautiful sweetness to kind of counteract and balance out the rest of the drink.
I really enjoy making it this way. It's a very my drinking habits are usually very neat, or I like very alcohol forward drinks.
Yeah.
So like a big glass of absinthe isn't going to bother me. Mr. Fruit Loops, who sits next to me, is the king of fruity drinks.
Yes,
he doesn't want anything even remotely to taste like alcohol. He just prefer to hide it, and
Yeah.
But maybe we should move on. Let's talk about your drink, which unfortunately has been sitting here. Let's first. Why don't you show the audience what Noob Noob has
this
done?
This isn't remotely close because I had to improvise because I can't find blood oranges. I don't know. They don't exist in America. I don't.
They're not real.
I guess they're racist.
But let's
against
talk
Americans.
about all the things that Noob Noob did wrong. Let's talk about the shape of the glass. It's
supposed to be crushed ice, and there's a whole lot of things wrong, and
the ice has been sitting in there for I don't know how long.
Make it at my house like a peasant and bring it over in a container.
I like Noob. I love the layers you've got going on with the ice at the top and the colors down the bottom. It's a really good start.
Or is that just because he can't mix a drink?
No, not at all. Not at all. You've got a bit of the blood orange down the bottom. So
I do think
we were talking, and I believe you made your own recipe, your own riff on my cocktail. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I didn't have the plantation pineapple, and according to Z, plantation rum's racist, but we're taking it back. So I added some pineapple juice, and I couldn't find a blood orange, but I had blood orange liqueur, so I put that in as well. So I'm
interested to see what you think, actually.
So I took a sip when it was fresh because I didn't. Okay. I knew we were going to sit here as well, but let me see if it tastes any different.
You didn't bring a stirrer or anything where you could stir it up?
Stir it with your pinky. This would actually be the first time a Drinks List at Noob Noob more than 5 minutes into an episode.
What are you doing, you maniac?
I think he's enjoying it. So.
He's just chugging it like an idiot. He doesn't want me to try any. I think that was the point.
How was it?
It's so stupid.
I didn't plan on doing that until I did it. It was actually really good. The blood orange comes through really well with the blood liqueur. So I want to know where I can get a blood orange because I want to try.
Actual blood.
But so I added pineapple juice into the plantation because I didn't have the pineapple version. That comes through really well. So the sweetness of the pineapple juice with the blood orange, I think, are the two prominent flavors. And the rum is really smooth, honestly. I used to not have an aged rum before you yelled at me and said, go get an aged rum because I'm a peasant. And the best rum decision I ever made.
It wasn't exactly like that, mate.
I was going off of spice rums and black rum and white rum, and this is much better than all of it combined. So great recommendation on that. And the drink itself is fucking delicious.
Why don't you actually give the audience the recipe that he tried and made it like a close approximation of it? Why don't you give us the actual recipe? I know I saw it on Instagram. Yeah. So and it was gorgeous. You can see an amazing picture of it. You take fantastic pictures of your drinks.
Better than I did.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Look, I mean, the inspiration behind that is I saw obviously here we're all about inspiration and taking things from other bartenders and mixologists and stuff like that. I saw a cocktail from Subtle Tiki, and it was a classic tiki drink called the Sideways Fang. And I really wanted to try it, and I actually didn't have all the ingredients to make it. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? So I grabbed what I sort of did have, and tried. That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Tried to recreate it with some blood orange. I had some beautiful blood orange left over from another cocktail that I made previously, and I thought, look, the Sideways Fang calls for normal orange juice. But I was like, well, I've got blood oranges here, so I'm going to tweak a few different ingredients and add a few things and pull out a few things, and this is what I come up with.
See
Is
how
that a pig snout in that drink?
No, it's a that garnish actually, I stole that garnish because I love the garnish that they had in the Sideways Fang in their cocktail. It's actually a snake. Like leaning out of the drink with two beady eyes.
I see.
But
It looks like
where you're going with. I can see where you're going with the pig nose.
it looks like one of the pigs from Angry Birds. Like it's about to fly across the screen and topple over a castle and search for some bird eggs there.
And you said you didn't have exotic ingredients, and here you have blood orange just left over from all these drinks, and here poor Noob Noob can't even find a single blood orange anywhere.
Noob Noob doesn't even know what an orange is.
I use orange juice from concentrate. That's all I can afford.
You sure you don't use Tang? You don't just use
Tang's
Tang?
delicious.
Tang,
first off.
yeah. First off, Tang was the shit. Do not slam Tang.
Yeah, you're going to use it in your amazing mixed cocktails? I don't think so.
Back in grade school, I did.
Of course you did.
I mixed it with my whiskey.
Is that the old? Yeah, it's the old grade school. Well, grade school, whatever school you were in.
It's the schoolyard trash can is what we called it. It was it was rum, chata, Tang, and Jose Cuervo tequila.
It sounds disgusting.
And we made it shaken, not stirred, because we didn't know any better.
That
it was grade
actually
school.
sounds really nice. I really like rum chata. Basically, white Baileys with some cinnamon in it. It's just beautiful. It's nice and smooth and goes well. If you actually mix that with some whiskey and a little bit of rum chata, a little bit of bourbon whiskey, and I think a little bit of cinnamon syrup. I can't remember, but it was just really beautiful, light, easy. You can shoot it back, or you can sit on it over some a glass of ice as well.
So for all you grade schoolers out there, take note of how to make your backyard drink better.
Look, we all have to start somewhere. I do want to take a minute though, because I took the extra minute to actually set the screen up here while you guys were talking. I was doing work, I guess. So I jumped over to your Instagram page here, and you actually have some really good looking drinks. I mean, a lot of thought has to go into just what these drinks look like, not just what they're made of. And I'm looking through these. I want to drink all of these. I don't think I've ever been to a page. Actually, most pages that have alcohol.
That was the blood orange drink that I made. That's actually blood orange in there as well.
Yeah. And so most pages that have alcohol, I want to drink everything, but yours doubly so. Every drink you have on here is like, I want to try that. No, I want to try this. No, I want to try this. So I mean, it's you've done a beautiful job of just making some really not only like tasty but good looking drinks as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you.
Have you done a riff on the Mai Tai? I know you just did one on the Hurricane with the Cyclone.
I did. I have done a riff on the Mai Tai, actually. I called it the Tiki Sniper.
Tiki Sniper. Damn.
Tiki Sniper, yeah. So that was my little julep. I can't remember, what was that one called?
This is your riff on a julep style cocktail?
Yep, that's one.
Make Your Mark is what it looks like you call it.
Make Your Mark, that's right. Yep. That's it. So yeah, the Maker's Mark bourbon. I love Maker's Mark. I love a good, nice, smooth bourbon, and I love them in julep. But everyone's like, the time that I made this, everyone was making, juleps because, the Derby was coming up and that's where the julep originated. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go something a little bit left of center, keep the style, keep the bourbon, but kind of change a few of the ingredients, which just gave me the idea behind it. So in the Make Your Mark, there's the Maker's Mark bourbon. There's a chocolate bitters in there as well. There's some orange bitters in there. Chocolate orange bourbon. They just go beautifully together.
Damn.
I found one here for Noob. Of course, he'll like it because it's pretty.
Fruit tingle. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's I think that's very lemonade heavy, if I recall.
It is, very lemonade. Yeah.
It looks. I think I probably made a version of that just on my own, but that looks really good. I might have to make that myself.
I couldn't tell you. This is measured in milliliters, which aren't parts. So if I was going to make this, it would be 15 parts Blue Carousel, 15 parts vodka, and then of course whatever's left would get the lemonade. But that's just how I make drinks. But it probably would not come out that blue. But it also looks very good.
Oh, thanks, guys.
My favorite blue drink is the Blue Hawaiian. That was my very first tropical drink I ever had.
Yeah, beautiful. Creme. I actually made a little bit of not a brief, like almost like a martini version of the Blue Hawaiian, which gave me the inspiration behind that. It's called the Blue Slipper. I don't know if you've got like there, but it's a beautiful coconut blue curacao drink with maraschino cherry down the bottom for your noob as well with your maraschino cherries.
That's basically the Japanese slipper, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I've got a Japanese slipper on there as well, which is traditional recipe. But that's, so this one here is the Blue Slipper. And how I actually got the name for this particular drink is, funnily enough, I was at the coffee table at my kitchen table having a drink, and my 5-year-old ran out the door with his blue slippers on. I was trying to think of a name to come up with this drink. And I'm like, it's the same color as his slippers. I'll just call it the Blue Slipper. And then it's kind of that Japanese slipper style with the maraschino cherry. I'm like, I don't know why I thought of it. Didn't think of it before. But yeah.
One thing I saw that you tend to, do you tend to stick with Kettle One? Is that like your favorite? Is that your favorite?
Yeah, Kettle One is a gorgeous vodka. I do want to branch out and try, other different wheat flavored vodkas. I'm all for wheat flavored vodkas. Oh, sorry, wheat based vodkas. Not flavor, because when you make, whether it be bourbon or whiskey with wheat, not necessarily grain, it's a lot softer on the back of the palate. It's a lot smoother. It doesn't have that ethanol, punch in the face, and that's why I love Kettle One. No plugs, by the way.
No,
not sponsored by Kettle One.
We're not sponsored. I love Kettle One. That seems to be my favorite as a vodka martini drinker for many years.
And everyone in the room here, there's also people I know that go to Kettle One as their go-to as well. And of course, I have to throw props to this very, very pretty looking White Russian. Being a fan of the Lebowski and the Dude, I very much appreciate this beverage right here.
Yeah, White Russian is definitely one of my favorites, especially on a nice hot day. You don't want anything too harsh, but you don't want anything too desserty. The cream float on the top, just really, it layers puts the film in the back in your throat, and the beautiful Kahlua or Mr. Black, if you wish, comes through, and then the vodka right behind it. So it's a nice, smooth, creamy, rounded drink. I love it.
Damn, you take absolutely beautiful pictures of drinks. I may be asking too much, if I may impose on you.
Would you take beautiful pictures of me shirtless?
No. No.
Thank you very much.
To take a riff, since you would, you made your own riff on the Damn Dirty Ape Martini. If you could take a picture of that for us, I think that would make make my day and my world.
Think it's a piece of shit drink. So
I love the drink. Shut up.
Yeah, wait. You're gonna ask the guy who's making pictures like this, like actual liquor art, to take our Damn Dirty Ape Martini and try to turn it into that?
Just imagine the beautiful. He could have a beautiful sliced jalapeno. Like the man's an artist. He can make it look beautiful. Hey,
Paul,
if you want to,
I really appreciate that.
asking that would make me very happy.
This will be
personally.
real easy.
I would be honoured. To be honest, when I made the drink to try for today's review, I just put all the ingredients together, like did my infusion, then I put all the ingredients together, just to taste it. But I didn't actually take a photo of it. I was in a bit of a rush, so I'll definitely remake that and take a nice shot for you and tag you guys and
we'll have to get the proper recipe. You have to get the proper recipe over to us because I do appreciate a good spicy drink, something with a little bite to it.
Yeah.
And if it's made well, unlike what we did, I think it would be even that much better.
Well, if he does his own spin, if it's inspired by us, A, I appreciate that, and B, if he does his own miraculous spin on it and makes it this work of art versus our like clunky, just kind of going for something a little different, I think that would be pretty awesome. So anything you can do, I would be absolutely gobsmacked. So I appreciate anything, and I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions or anything?
No. Do you have any? What's your next upcoming tease for a recipe?
Oh, because you're on the wrong side of the world. Look.
Wait. Oh, shoot! The Australian filter turned off there for a second. Hold on, I gotta fix that. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
That was a little Aussie joke for all of you out there, and I've now just insulted him using that word too. So
Good job.
So we have really bad connections out here, Scotty. So no, that's cool, man. Not you at all. I'm still connected to McDonald's Wi-Fi, so that's probably why.
McDonald's has better Wi-Fi than most places here in America, so at least got something right over there.
So why don't you tell us what's coming up next for you, and then if you want to go through and tell everybody how they can reach you, and if they, what you do a little bit on your Instagram, if people have questions, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time is yours.
Absolutely. So basically, with me, it's in the pipeline. I want to eventually start filming episodes as to how to do whatever it may be to make classic cocktails. How to infuse properly, the difference from a quick infusion, like a rapid infusion, to a proper 2 week to a month infusion or over a couple of days. How to really highlight beautiful drinks and infusions from the comfort of your own home. With a very basic tools and ingredients that you need to make drinks that you like to enjoy. So that's what's coming up for me. I just need to find the right space to shoot these episodes because I don't have a at home. I've got the tick of approval from the wife, so that's a good start to build the bar. Always important to check with the wife first before you start building stuff out the back of the house. So, and yeah, as far as Instagram goes, if there's anyone that's listening now that wants to, for me to make a drink, or there's a drink that they would love to see, feel free to DM me on Instagram at the Aussie Bartender. Would be more than happy to help, or any tips and tricks I can give back to you guys. That I'm always here to help. So yeah.
Paul, when it comes to building that bar, I think it's going to be better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So I say just go ahead and start building it and see what happens. What's the worst case that happens? She divorces you, but then, hey, you still have a bar.
That's right. Exactly. It's a pretty good payoff. Okay.
She comes home one day, hey, look, honey, look, there's a bar here now.
And of course, you can also find Paul over on Facebook at the Aussie Bartender, our Facebook at Our Reviews Will Kill You. Yes. You'll find him there as well. We've tagged him in this video, which is now available over on Facebook.com/Our Reviews Will Kill You. You'll find him there at Facebook.com/The Aussie Bartender. On the screen there, you can see his Instagram. It is the Aussie Bartender. And you know how to find us, so I'll just keep that nice and short. So there you go.
And I'm going to remake the Red Belly again on Friday, so Z can actually taste it, and I'll let you know what he thinks.
Fantastic! I can't wait to see it.
We'll tag you in it, so you can hear us talk about it, and maybe we'll 100%. Take a nice picture of it.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you again, Paul, so much for joining us. Make sure you check out the Aussie Bartender. And from all of us here at Our Reviews Will Kill You, to all of y'all at home, we love y'all.
so much for having me.
You've had greatest of fears.